Some people have been admitted already, so thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully you can see the PowerPoint that's being shared on the screen. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to give it another few seconds to see if anybody else joins, then we'll go ahead and get started and dive into everything. Just really quickly, I'm Megan Snyder. I'm GiveSmart's Customer Marketing Manager, and we are so excited to have each of you here today. I know I've connected with some of you before, but if not, I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more today. And just so you guys all know, this call is being recorded and will be sent out after to everyone who registered. And if you guys are new to GiveSmart community, welcome. This call that you're on today is what we like to call a roundtable. So we hold these monthly for our community members to get to know one another. And you'll be able to find out the dates of these through me reading the monthly community insight emails. So make sure that you are reading through those too and opening those up. So yeah, let's go ahead and kind of get started. So I would love to hear what each of you guys are up to. So please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat box. Feel free to include your name, organization, location, your next event, what you're doing for Giving Tuesday, anything like that. We would love to know more about what you're doing. And then, like I said, for a few housekeeping notes, please feel free to turn your cameras on. We would love to see and hear from you today. Again, there's no silly questions, so please use this as a safe space to explore and find those solutions. In saying that, please use the chat box, and we'll get to a point today where we'll go ahead and unmute and talk about things and answer some questions. But just so you don't forget, feel free to use the chat box as a comment back and forth, anything like that. Again, I will be sharing out this recording with you in a follow-up email along with any resources that we share or talk about. And then finally, we are all about feedback here at Community. So please let us know what you think, what you want more of, what you want less of. And so on that note, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is our agenda for today. Depending on our questions and conversation, our call may wrap a little early today, but we're so excited to talk about services. So again, we'll get to a point where we can do some round robin sharing as well. So feel free to keep those questions and round robin topics front of mind as we go through things today. And yay, so last thing before I start to pass things over, I'm so excited to have Denise and Megan Emily. That might be confusing because I'm Megan and she's Megan, but hopefully we look a little different and our voices sound different that we can distinguish. But I'm so excited to have them here from our services team today to talk about available services and answer any questions you might have. So Denise, Megan, if you guys want to go ahead and quickly introduce yourselves, that would be fantastic.
Hi, everyone. I'm Denise. I'm a fundraising technology advisor here with GiveSmart. And I work on both the events and the fundraise platform and also the CRM platform as well. And I've been with GiveSmart for a little over 2 years now. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Megan. I have been with GiveSmart for 7 years now, since the early days. I'm currently our event services analyst, and I have worked on several of our teams, including on our customer success side and our regional event team as well when we went on site. And it didn't show up here. Denise, you can probably see, has some talent in the baking department. She makes it, I eat it. And so I was thinking of Halloween, obviously, and I am Team Kit Kat. So I don't know what you guys are. I'll throw it in the chat. No candy corn, though. We'll judge.
I am so not a candy corn person, so I love that, Megan. So thank you, Denise and Megan. We'll hear more from both of them in a second. So thank you guys for introducing yourselves, and we're so happy to have you here today. So in saying that, let's go ahead and kick off our conversation with services. So Megan, I'm going to pass it to you, and I'm going to go ahead and mute.
All right, so excited we're finally getting to dive a little bit more into services. I like to liken our services to moving, right? You're getting the GiveSmart technology, and it's kind of like getting the U-Haul truck. you can get from point A to point B, but our services certainly give you some options and some help. It's like calling in your best friend, for example, only we don't accept pizza and beer for payment, unfortunately. But we've got some really flexible a la carte options that you can add on depending on what your needs are. And we've got 3 of those. We've got personalized training, guided implementation, and our remote technician support. And I think something that's really special across these different services is we actually have 14 team members across professional services and event services that actually come to us from a professional nonprofit background. So, we're not working off of what we think, we're working really off of boots on the ground, what people know who have been in your same shoes. And understanding your needs and working through some of the same challenges before. But what we do know is when you're using services with GiveSmart, our organizations are raising 30 to 60% more on average, which is huge for making an impact with your mission. As you can see, kind of to some stats to this side here, but we have done over 750 guided implementations over the past year. We've also done over 1,700 events with remote technician support. And with that, we have a really high level of people actually bringing them back immediately. They love the service. But you can also see that everyone working on the team has a really strong experience with the GiveSmart software that they're leading you through. And we've got a lot of team members as well who have significant experience going directly on site and understand the event flow. And so you're certainly not speaking Greek to them when they're working with you. But we're going to get kind of moving over to Denise here. She's going to kick off starting about a couple of our services here with the PT and the guided implementation.
Right. So personalized training. Yep, there we go. The first service I'll talk about is personalized training. So this is a 1-hour training session tailored to the organization's needs and designed to help the organization administrators navigate through the platform, whether it's fundraise or events, and understand all of the settings. This personalized training is perfect for new admins. If you have a team that's new to the services, and get them all on the call. You have a personalized Zoom call with one of the advisors, and they really do an overview of all of the settings, and they do kind of like definition of terms that are used in both platforms, differences between admins, users, donors, campaigns, activities. It can be really confusing across both platforms, all of the terminology. So they do a deep dive into all of the settings, and then they can show you guys how to create a campaign from scratch. It's also great for seasoned veterans of the platform if they just have specific questions on how to create a really complicated, detailed form, or if they typically use events side and they want to do a crowdfunding platform, but they really don't know how to begin. They can help them, train them on the best practices on how to use each of the activities within the platform. And each personalized training comes with 2 1-hour sessions. So if you wanted to do, the first one is more like an overview of the system, and then maybe a few months down the line, you've had a chance to kind of dip in and practice a little bit, and you have like a list of growing questions you want to go over. That's perfect for your second session. You can deep dive into the specific questions and issues that the organization is coming up against, and it's really it's personalized and tailored to each organization. Very flexible. Next slide. In guided implementation, this is it's up to an 8-hour service. I think the expert plan comes with 3 guided implementations that you can use throughout the year. This is perfect for reviewing pages, creating campaigns from scratch, really helping with marketing and fundraising strategy is applied to both platforms. If you have a really, for auctions and events, the fundraising technology advisor can guide you through the top to bottom of how to set up your event successfully, including all the auction settings for fundraise. It includes text messaging and marketing communication. It's really meant to be a guide and to help you guys really learn the system and really deep dive into your campaign to make it successful for you. And we're really meant to be a resource to help you navigate the system and how to use the Knowledge Center. There's also training videos that we would help you with. And we recommend, 2 to 3 phone calls. And then the guided implementation also includes the building time and any revisions. You can use it any way you want to. It's just 8 hours. That's really up to you. It's great for, I would say, if you have a small staff and you just have no time to build out your event page and your auction, we can build out your campaign from scratch and help you with that and all the revisions. We can also, if you also are confident in using the system and you just want to use that to, shoot off best practices and, am I doing this correctly? We can also you can build and we can review. Again, it's very flexible and it's meant to fit within your needs that your organization has at the time. Next.
All right, I had to find that unmute button. So really excited to talk about our remote technician service as I work more directly with that team. And I like to think of your guided implementation and your personalized training as kind of your planning that you may be in. Remote technician service is really coming in to help you when it's execution time. So really complementary if you're using several of these services together. It's such a smooth move between them and a lot going up behind the scenes. Between our teams to make that happen. But remote technicians are going to provide you with up to 6 hours of support. And they're also going to meet with you pre-event if you'd like to review your finalized run of show and work through how they're going to support you specifically based on what you're trying to accomplish. So, really wonderful. They check in with you. There's a lot of things that they can do for you aside from be that body to push buttons in person to maybe check in a guest. They can still open and close your auction, your various fundraising items. They can handle your communications throughout the evening. And as we probably all know, those can change and timelines change, and they can really manage all of that on the back end for you. They can, of course, assist with processing payments and generating reports for you as well. And they can, of course, do data input for you in terms of your paddle raises that you may be doing, if you're scribing those, as well as with your live auction items, and any of those changes, duplicating the items. And so on. They're, of course, on call. They're dedicated to you during your event. So, of course, if you have any troubleshooting or issues that come up, they are a phone call away or a text message or however you guys decide to best communicate during the event. And they're also your most direct line for something. If they can't solve it for you, they've got our support team immediately on their side working on that for you as well. So you just want to be sure that you contract that at least 30 days prior to your event. And if it's a really busy date, kind of in those busy seasons, you'll want to do it farther than that. We do have dates that black out that are in high demand. So you probably know those coming up for spring, getting into late April and early May. Of course, if you're ever in a last minute hurry, say you've moved, you did it on your own with the U-Haul, but you got there and now you've got a lot to unpack, right? Please always check in with us. We always try to accommodate you where we can. Happy to help.
Thank you both so much for sharing such great information about services and going through those 3 options. And remember, just for everyone, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, or feel free to hold them a little bit when we get to the Q&A. But I wanted to quickly pause before we dive into some campaign examples to just share this recent feedback from a customer who utilized services. I'm not going to read it to you, but you guys can read it. I know for me personally, sometimes it's nice to just get like a quick refresher in best practices, or see if there's something that can be done more efficiently than I'm doing right now. So based on that, it sounds like services was a great experience for this customer, which we love to hear.
Yes, I actually have to jump in and give a shout out. This is one of our remote technicians, Natasha, that this came in for. She is so fantastic if anyone's gotten the chance to work with her in the past. But of course, no surprise here that this customer was raving about her support.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Megan, for jumping in and saying that. We love a good shout out here. So we'll make sure to, tell Natasha that she got a nice shout out as well. But yeah, so thank you guys. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and jump into a few examples. Just to give some background, these examples of the campaigns that we're going to walk through today are examples of the fundraise side of the platform, and are examples of guided implementation from the services team. We wanted to showcase these examples today because of Giving Tuesday. End of year giving is slowly getting closer, as I'm sure we're all aware of, if not overly aware of. And I just want to make sure that you guys can see all that GiveSmart has to offer, and that the fundraise side includes, so many different options for reoccurring giving in different increments, form and branding and customization, custom questions, mobile messaging. You've all heard it before, and so much more. But as a side note, if you guys see these examples and you're interested in learning more about fundraise, drop a message in the chat or email me, and I'd be happy to get you in touch with someone if you want to, utilize fundraise for this fall fundraising season. So in saying all of that, Denise, I'm going to pass it to you for the first example.
Perfect. Great. So this is California Baptist University, and they decided for their giving campaign to use a crowdfunding campaign. So this is great. Crowdfunding is perfect if you're going to have constituents and donors and staff and family and everyone under the sun to fundraise on your behalf. This is the perfect platform to use for that. And so CBU started their giving campaign early on October 3rd through their Lancers Forever year-end giving campaign that lasted for it's going to last for about 3 months. They utilized, you can see this leaderboard here in this, it's kind of small underneath the photo. So as donations are coming through to each of the programs that they set up, the leaderboard changes, and it's great for competition. You can see who's ahead. And so it just really, if you have a competitive group, it drives up the fundraising, which is perfect. These are features that you can turn on or turn off on the page. And it looks like they set up their fundraisers as programs. Again, the site is flexible. You can set it up as individual people or families, but they're focusing on fundraising for their programs. Let's see. Also for these fundraising pages, they're individual giving pages. So each fundraising page has its own goal, has its own slide of photographs, and its own impact language that you can customize for them. The fundraiser can also customize the impact language for themselves to be more of like I language. I'm fundraising for, I believe in CBU for this reason. And so it has a greater impact for the donors who are trying to donate. What else? And then the goals that are made on each individual fundraising pages shows up on the aggregate total on the main page. So that all feeds into the one giving campaign. And then they also used a great customized hashtag, Giving Tuesday Ask. Oh no, they used Giving Tuesday, sorry. I thought it was different. You can use a Giving Tuesday hashtag to direct people to your page. I also recommend using a customized Giving Tuesday hashtag that's customized and individual for your organization, for your school, for your campaign. It's fun to share out a hashtag. And also I would just say a great use of services for guided implementation is if you don't want to have people create their own fundraising and team pages, the fundraising technology advisor can create those pages for you on the back end, and then you can just disable the start a fundraiser page and just have your donate button showing. So people are just literally just donating to your page and not having to create a fundraising page on their own. So that's a great use of a guided implementation time for doing that. And yeah, this is a first example. And I think Megan has the next two.
Yeah, I do. I'm going to go ahead and click to the next slide. Thank you, Denise. So this next example is, again, showcasing a peer-to-peer campaign, but I also wanted to show this as an example because it's a campaign challenge, which is kind of fun and a little different. So the Founders Day Challenge for Lambda Chi Alpha is an annual giving event, and they are holding it, excuse me, on November 2nd and 3rd to support the Lambda Chi Alpha Educational Foundation. You can see the images on the screen that their fundraising is broken out by chapters of the fraternity at each university, and each chapter has a specific text to donate code associated with their campaign page. Wow. So what makes it a challenge? So the fraternity brothers will compete as chapter teams and make donations in honor of Lambda Chi's impact on their lives. So how the organization did it is the top 3 chapters in participation, aka donors, and impact, aka dollars, will receive special recognition, awards, bragging rights. You know, it's always fun to win. At least for me it is. But the one thing about this that I really want to call out is that services always suggest finding the right way to incentivize your audience to participate and surpass their goals, which it sounds like is something that Lambda Chi was able to do. So the other thing is Lambda Chi campaign is a great example of kind of creating your own giving day to avoid that social media and email madness. I don't know this for a fact because I'm not a member of the fraternity, but this could have been their founding day or something like that, which would have been a nice little call out and call to action there. And then the final comment I want to make is that the organization was able to set up a donation match, which is fantastic for them, but that also encourages a higher giving level. And so when you get that opportunity, you can make sure to use that matching gift message, which also will add incentive to donate. So I'm going to go to this next example. So this Beyond Hunger campaign is a reoccurring giving campaign, and the organization set it up highlighting the impact of the donor to bring in new monthly donors. Also, this showcases what the amount given per month does and how it impacts the community. You can kind of see that in the red box right there. This campaign goes back to how getting that one-time gift of $100 is always great, but having someone set up a $25 gift monthly goes so much further and can have an even bigger impact on the community. Another thing to call out here where services is a part of this, it's when services gets involved, they can help set up that reoccurring giving campaign, and the team member from services helps the client or client organization look at their average giving online donation amounts and can help them set up the reoccurring donation amounts to optimize their response specific to their organization. So really just taking that extra step to see kind of what's going on the back end. The services team has also helped articulate giving opportunities at the different monthly levels, like I said in that red box, and make sure that the organization is utilizing all of the reoccurring giving tools available. So like an auto prompt that pops up if a non-reoccurring donation is going to be processed and asked if they want to make it reoccurring. Another thing to call out about this campaign is that services is also able to help advise on like stewardship plans once the organization can get those donors in the system to see how we're going to communicate with them moving forward. So just some kind of extra little call outs there. I'm going to go here and kind of just pause really fast before we dive into any questions, but Madison on the back end is going to share a link to the services information page, and a form fill in the chat. So make sure to bookmark those links if your team is interested in utilizing any of these services moving forward. Or obviously you can get in touch with your CSM too. That's an easy way. Before we dive into questions again, I want to say thank you to the services team members for presenting today. And I wanted to let you know that we only have one more roundtable this year. With the holidays, we figured that doing something right before Thanksgiving to talk about end of year giving and Giving Tuesday ideas would probably be the best avenue for us to go. So Madison's also going to drop that link in the chat. And so in saying all of that, let's go ahead and open up the floor to any services related questions that we have. And then we can go ahead and dive into some more round robin sharing about successful campaigns, other success stories, or other Giving Tuesday stuff that we want to talk about. So if there's any services questions, I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen really fast so we can all see each other. So if you want to come on camera, that would be great. And if you guys have any questions, also hi, thank you all for being here. So feel free to either raise your hand or put something in the chat or come off mute. I'm just now able to see the chat and start scrolling. But yeah, if you guys want to raise your hand and ask any questions to the services team, go ahead. If not, I think I have a few questions that I can ask as well, but I want to open it up to the group. Okay. Oh, I see a hand. Stephanie, yes, go ahead. If you can come off mute, please.
Yeah, hi. I had sent a question via the chat, but I'll just ask it because I don't care. So for the crowd fundraising, is that something that is different than the P2P or the champions feature? I think we use GiveSmart for all of our events. I think it might be the event specific GiveSmart. And I know that we have done like ambassadors or champions in the past, but it looked different than the examples that y'all were showing.
Yep. Yeah, I can take that. Yeah, they're definitely different. So crowdfunding slash P2P, peer-to-peer is what we call the crowdfunding on the fundraise side. And then events has their champions. Just speaking from my personal experience, being an expert on the fundraise side, the crowdfunding peer-to-peer is more robust on that side of the house. We have a nice landing page that you can share out to all your networks. And then each individual fundraiser and team is, front of center on that main page. And each of those has their own goal, has their own language that they can, customize photos. It's just more customizable, I believe, on the fundraise side. And all of those pages can be shared out to their networks. And each fundraising and team page has its own unique keyword, unique to their fundraising page that they can share out and get their donors donating to their campaign page.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, Denise, those are great points, and you took the words right out of my mouth. The only other thing that I kind of want to throw out, and I know I'm not going to have the correct actual to the cent number, but I always laugh because I'm like, well, but we know from the back end of the system that the amount of donations that get processed via fundraise peer-to-peer versus champions peer-to-peer is night and day difference. So that's one of those reasons why we're encouraging people to who are within the events platform to just consider fundraise if you are wanting to do some more peer-to-peer things, because the monthly processing for donations is I'm not even kidding, 2 million on the fundraise side, whereas on the event side, it's just significantly less than that. And we think a lot of that is due to the robust customization, like Denise mentioned, and just having the ability to easily add in those reoccurring prompts, like I had mentioned, because getting someone to give one time to someone is fantastic, but doing a monthly, without even thinking about it, is kind of the goal there. Did we answer your question, Stephanie? Was that helpful at all? Is there anything else you want us to expand on?
Yeah, no, that was great. I know, so for the events piece, we're contracted for a year. Is the peer-to-peer piece per year or per campaign?
I believe it's per year, so it's an agreement. I see Eric nodding, so thank you, Eric. But yeah, but that's something where I know that like whoever your CSM is could help you like get that set up if it was something that you wanted to go ahead and like try for Giving Tuesday this year. I know they'd be happy to work with you and find a plan that works for your organization to go ahead and try that out and add that on.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you'll definitely have the opportunity to get in on the full suite whenever you guys are ready to make that move.
For sure. So I know I have a few questions that I just wanted to kind of run through with you guys, if that's okay. And hopefully this is helpful for anyone else who wants to learn even more like I do. So I know, I think it was Megan who mentioned like how far out you would want to plan if you're wanting to utilize services. I don't know if you could expand on that a little bit. Like if somebody was like, oh shoot, I need help with Giving Tuesday this year, or I have a golf tournament in March or end of year. I just didn't know if there was anything you could like expand there or like best practices with planning ahead.
Sure. So I think the short and sweet of it is that we will always try to work with you. We want to do it. It's what we're here for. But we know, obviously, we have so many people available, and we want to be able to provide you some reasonable times at the end of the day to be able to really give you the attention that you need. So we know that your calendar can be crazy. We know it can become more stressful trying to work in on really limited times. And so that's why we really ask for you to book as early as possible on those services so that we, can really get it in at your convenience at the end of the day. And of course, again, last minute, it happens. And we'll always see what we can do if you have some flexibility back for us.
That's great. So like this is another thing that I feel like I hear that we get asked often. So kind of the question of like, I have a new team member, they just joined, they need to learn GiveSmart, but like, I don't really have the time to educate them like me. I guess if service is the right place to direct them, and like, what would you guys suggest is the best way to go about that?
Yeah, definitely services. I suggest personalized training as an add-on for that. Again, they'll get that overview of all of the settings in the platform, whether it's on events or fundraise. You can use it for both, either one. And that'll, personalized training is perfect for like a team of new staff or, like a marketing team or whoever, like a group of people. You can do a nice personalized training customized to what they need. If they need to learn, how to add new users. It's like we said, it's very flexible and very customizable to the client's needs.
Fantastic. I love that. And that's like the one thing I think when it comes back to services, like when I was talking about like best practices, what I need to learn, how to be the most efficient, I think that just like speaks to that 100%. I guess I have one more question. So I know that some things have like changed over the years. And so I guess I'm curious if you guys can talk about where services fits into things, where a CSM fits into things, how everybody works together. If either of you want to take that one.
Yeah, I can definitely take that one. So, if you've worked with us for a while, you may have experienced having that CSM, for example, as kind of almost your do-it-all point of contact for you. Really our CSMs now are working with you to kind of steward you through the resources that you need and the services that you may need. And ensure your success using, the GiveSmart suite. But we do have the wonderful services team that is built out now. And the goal there was really to make everything about working with GiveSmart, I think, more accessible. we've got really big orgs, we've got really small orgs with, that can have really limited budgets. And, this really lets you pick and choose what you need as opposed to kind of being on a checklist of getting it all and maybe even paying for it all. And, I think the beautiful thing about services now is I can't think of many other scenarios where you can so easily flex your team at the org. Um, you know, you may only have so many people. You've got a lot to do. I know you guys are all crunching it in to make it happen. And, you're not having to train somebody new. You can really pull somebody in from the GiveSmart team very easily to support, whether it's pre-event or during the event, to make sure everything is set up for success.
That's great. Thank you. That's one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, like I have this contact and this contact, and it's like, who should I go to for which? And it's like, you can go to anyone. We're going to answer your question, but the right
you
place
can.
to
It's
go.
but you're getting really the most specialized person, the most knowledgeable person, regarding whatever it is that we can help you do.
For sure. Those are kind of like my questions that I had that I thought would be helpful for everyone. I wanted to give one more opportunity and see if there were any other questions from anyone who had joined. Just really quick. You can obviously always email me later or anything like that if you do have questions, or I can get you in touch with Megan or Denise. But yeah, I just wanted to we'll just go ahead and wrap a little early, like I said in the beginning. So thank you all. I know this was only like a quick 40-minute. Oh, Stephanie, go ahead. I see a hand. Sorry, I won't wrap up. I won't wrap up. Go ahead.
No, you're good. So this isn't really a question. This is just a comment. I would just encourage any of the organizations on, if y'all do any type of event, use a remote tech. They make my job so much easier. I am the event coordinator at my organization, and y'all know event day is hectic. You have a team of people, but like at our organization, there's only 2 that really know GiveSmart. And so we just have like a group of people who don't know GiveSmart, and we have 2 people that we can go to. And our remote tech for our past event, her name was Kara. She was absolutely great. We had a group text going on throughout the whole event, and we could just text her and say, hey, this live auction item went to bidder number 141 and it sold for this much money, and she was putting it in. Like, I strongly encourage it. It was just so helpful.
Awesome.
Love that, Stephanie. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I do think people take for granted sometimes, it's event day and you've got 5 people coming at you for 5 different things or questions. And it's so great to have somebody who's just taking care of stuff on the back end so that you can really do what you do best and focus elsewhere.
Awesome. Well, I realized that I was going to wrap us up, and I didn't even give us the opportunity if we wanted to talk any more about Giving Tuesday, end of year stuff. So my bad there. I just was like, wow, we flew through this today. And I was going to roll my eyes and be one of those people who's like, I'm going to give you time back, which is like the Zoom epitome of everything right now. So I laugh at that, but I did want to give the opportunity, having Megan and myself and Denise here, we're happy to kind of talk through a lot of things related to any sort of questions around Giving Tuesday campaigns, whether it's fundraise, whether it's events, whether it's anything that we can help with. So I just wanted to give this opportunity to talk about that. If anybody has anything they want to share, or Megan or Denise, do you guys have any best practices or anything that you want to share that would be helpful?
Yeah, I would just say that, Giving Tuesday doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to create a crowdfunding page or an event page. You can literally just create a donation form, because the straightest line to money in your pocket for your organization is a donation form. So all of the donation forms have public links to them that you can share out on social media. You can share that in an e-blast. You can put it in your email signature. It's just that simple. And the donation form comes with 3 suggested amounts that you can customize based on your donors' giving history. So if you're an organization where most donors give 25, 50, and 100, leave those amounts in there. If you have, higher end donors that maybe give, 500, 750 and 1,000, put those levels in there. There's also like another button where they can just override all of that and put, $1 million if they wanted to. They can put their own donation amount, and it takes all of it. It's very simple. Apple Pay, PayPal. I think we're doing Google Pay. I'm not sure. All
think so.
credit cards. Yeah, they just make it very easy. You get a nice, thank you email that a lot of my clients use as their end of year, like the formal acknowledgement letter. So you don't have to go back to your desk and send out all those letters. GiveSmart Fundraise just takes care of it for you. So there's that. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm working on Giving Tuesday campaigns as we speak. I've got 5 going right now, so there's still time. You can do it up to, like a month ahead, a week before. It just depends on really like how much marketing you're going to do. If you're going to really just do it on the day, then you have all this time to work on it. If you're going to start sharing out the links to the donation form or the page beforehand, then I would say get a move on. But there's so much you can do. And I would say donation form is just the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, Megan, do you have anything? I was going to say, I have an example that I can share if you.
I don't have anything on Giving Tuesday. I'll just kind of end for myself though with, I think I always like to remind people, honestly, with our services, there's nothing that you can't do yourself. It's all there and the resources are there. But you have to say, is this the best use of my time? Can someone else do this while I do something of more value? And I think that, again, that's where the value of the services can come in. I even look at it as like a life insurance policy. It may even seem simple sometimes what you may be asking someone to do on the services team. But at the end of the day, if something were to go wrong, would you regret not having the extra support there? And if you don't end up using it, it's really a great thing, right? It means everything went well. So it's one of those, you get it, you don't need it, right? But it's when you don't have it that something terrible happens, and you wish you did. So, just planning for that and, seeing where we can best work and help you.
Yeah, Sally, I saw you raised your hand. If you want to unmute, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you all today. And we love GiveSmart because I think we got it back when it was called Gesture.
Yes, Gesture.
Yeah,
Wow.
we still didn't know what we were doing, but we had the live people come to our event, and that was wonderful. And then we're like, oh no, we're not going to have that. But we've been easing into the remote because we've been easing back to events. So we haven't gone full blown, and everything's gone fine. And now we're going to be switching over to the CRM.
Yay.
From Black Bob Raises It. Yeah, we're a little nervous about that, but
I got you, Sally.
I know.
I got you.
And I wanted to tune in. Just, hey, would you like questions ahead of time before we meet tomorrow?
I'll send you an email. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure you have all the questions.
Okay, good.
Yeah, don't worry.
I love that.
Okay. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you, Sally. I really did love that. But the last thing that I was going to share is I came from an organization. I came from a United Way organization, and we used Robocause before it was fundraised. And it was one of those things where we would take like the month before Giving Tuesday and slowly craft out what we want our message to be. And it was one of those things where it was like, we know we need to be a part of this day, but we also know that it might not be our biggest fundraising day, and that's okay. It was one of those things where we decided that we wanted to take the message and share one year around like our childhood literacy program. And so we had videos and photos and books, and we basically fundraised to get new books for the schools, right? Which was great. And that was something that was really great. And we saw that message resonate with a very specific group of people. And so then what we were able to do was take that group who had donated on Giving Tuesday for that education purpose and see if they wanted to volunteer for the program next year, right? See if they wanted to be involved in a different way that wasn't such this like monetary gift. And I will say, oh my gosh, it was like years ago now, but I mean, I remember getting a great response from people being like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I didn't even know I could volunteer for this. So that's the other thing to think about is it's like, it's not always that like monetary return. It's like, how can we engage the donors and our audience in a different way sometimes? So that's just a nice extra point to add on there. And I saw Stephanie's hands clap, so I don't know what she's clapping for, but thank you, Stephanie. But I'll give one more chance if there's any questions, because we do now only have like about 15 minutes or so left. So I just wanted to give a final opportunity, but you guys can obviously always reach out to me or your CSM or to services if you have any specific questions. But again, I just wanted to say thank you for being a part of community and for participating today. We always welcome feedback, so please feel free to, I see Stephanie, thank you. So please feel free to email me or add me on LinkedIn or anything like that to connect. I will be sending out the recording and any of the resources. And thank you again to both Megan and Denise for your time today. And I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.